Welcome to the Sunshine Coast ElderCollege preview of the Spring 2021 courses. My name is Thomas Kern, and I'm presently the chair of the ElderCollege Program Committee, and will be leading you through this preview. We acknowledge with gratitude that we are gathering on the traditional ancestral lands of the Sechal and Squamish First Nations. We had a very successful fall term, our first one going online on Zoom with 233 registrations. We are now ready for a second term, spring 2021, with 15 courses. Here's the list of the 15 courses, and you notice we have quite an assortment of new courses for this spring term. I now ask Ann Hopkins, Board Chair of the Sunshine Coast ElderCollege, to say a few words. Ann, please.
Thank you. My name is Ann Hopkins, and I am the Chair of the Sunshine Coast ElderCollege. And I would like to welcome you to our online preview of our courses for Spring 2021. In the fall, we went forward with considerable trepidation with a slimmed-down online program of 11 courses. We also took over registration and advertising from the Sunshine Coast Regional District. Our fall program was sufficiently successful that we are optimistic we're going full steam ahead with 15 courses on Zoom for spring. By way of background, we are a self-funded, not-for-profit organization and receive no grants or outside sources of funding other than course fees, and we have reduced our course fees by 20%. In addition, we are an all-volunteer organization, and that includes our course presenters who give freely of their time and expertise. Your feedback is important to us for planning, and I'd like to thank all of those who participated in our surveys this year. The feedback was very helpful, and you also told us how much online classes benefit those who prefer not to travel, and we will be factoring this into our plans. While we hope for a return to in-person classes in the future remains uncertain, so it's imperative that we keep our age groups safe and protected. We hope you will sign up for some of the exciting courses on our spring program, and we look forward to seeing you on Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. I have a few important informations that may be new to you. Publication is via our own website, newsletter, and please do sign up if you're not signed up for the newsletter, and ads in the Coast Reporter. Registration is via our own website, not via the SCRD. Payment for courses is via our own website using PayPal or credit card. The cost is still only $35 since we are not required to collect GST. Registration, as mentioned, is done directly on our website. There's a link, and if you go to our website, you will find a pull-down menu titled Spring 2021. To assist you during registration, we have a dedicated phone, 604-865-0795, with a voicemail. So if you need help, you can leave a short message and one of our volunteers will be able to phone you back. And we have a dedicated email address, registrar@sunshinecoasteldercollege.ca. Payment of course fees. When you select your course or courses, they will be in a shopping cart, just like you are used to from other online shopping. When you have completed your selection, you are directed to the payment part. Payment will be accepted via PayPal, Visa card, or MasterCard. If you require assistance or have questions about registration or payments, please contact the registrar. We will now introduce the courses grouped by facilitators. The facilitator for the first two courses, Dana Jensen, is unfortunately not able to be with us today, so I will do the introduction. The first course is a new one, National Historic Sites, with Michael Starr. The course will be presented on 4 Tuesdays, April 6, 13, 20, and 27, from 10 a.m. to noon, online on Zoom. Mike Starr, the presenter, has worked for Parks Canada for 25 years, including at 2 different sites in Ontario and many years at Fort Langley. He has put together a very interesting program. He will start out discussing various historic sites across Canada, and you can have a look and see how many of those places you can recognize. Next, he will look at controversy and history. It's very good to have these discussions. Commemoration is not necessarily celebration. Historical figures are complex people, neither all good nor all bad. Statues tend to celebrate, honor, lift up as an example. Size is sometimes larger than life. The position elevated on horseback in pagoda, central square. Text may be reference only possible, but leave out negative. We will look at an example, Sir John A. Macdonald. And of course, what we know about is that he did a lot of very important things for Canada. And there may be some negative things. A question that, of course, needs some discussion is, should we celebrate them with statues in public places? What do you think? Because of COVID-19, the physical field trip to go to Fort Langley will most likely not happen. Mike has put together a virtual field trip to Fort Langley with help of videos and slides. So it's possible to still get a very good impression and a lot of information about the National Historic Site at Fort Langley. Again, the course is on 4 Tuesdays, April 6, 13, 20, and 27, from 10 a.m. to noon, online on Zoom. The next course, which is in favorite course in the spring session of Elder College and has a long tradition, is a preview of for the Festival of the Written Arts. The plan is to have this take place this year, May 8th to June 3rd, 5 Thursdays, with a morning session from 10 to 12 noon and an afternoon session from 2 to 4 p.m. online on Zoom. Details are subject to the Festival of the Written Arts program for 2021. The format is that 5 authors are selected from this season, authors that will be visiting or participating in whatever form the festival will take place this year or this coming year. And 1 book each will be selected, and then encourage a discussion about it. Pam Horner will be the moderator for the morning session, and there will be an announcement for the moderator for the afternoon session. In each of those sessions, there will be 5 presenters that will select the book. They will do some research and do a short presentation to the group to start off the discussion. We won't be able to do it physically like that, but we will be able to do it on Zoom. And again, the dates, May 8th to June 3rd, 5 Thursdays, morning session 10 to 12, and afternoon session 2 to 4. The next course will be introduced by Pat Hausberg, one of the 2 moderators for the Hot Topics course. Hot Topics, again, is a very popular course and has been running for considerable time as a standard feature in our next.
Hot Topic sessions are on Monday mornings from 10 to 11:30. Next season starts on January 11, moderated by Selma Schwab and Pat Hausberg. Hi, and thanks for your interest in Hot Topics. I've attended every season of Hot Topics for the last 2 years. I started co-hosting the sessions this fall with Selma Schwab. Hot Topics is a unique experience, providing a safe environment for people to freely discuss major issues from their own perspectives. If you enjoy lively conversations, diversity of opinions, and are looking to expand your horizons on a variety of issues affecting our world, this course is perfect for you. Hot Topics is delivered as a moderated roundtable driven by the interests of the participants. They select the topics to be discussed each session. Subjects range widely from politics, history, culture, science to spirituality. For the time being, the course will be delivered online via Zoom, allowing us to take advantage of a variety of media tools that can enrich the sessions, such as slideshows, short videos, and other resources. We look forward to having you join our next season of Hot Topics in January. See you then. Thanks.
Course, Advanced Care Planning, a new course, will be introduced by Ron Kidd. Ron, please.
Hi. Advanced Care Planning. It's never too early to plan for your future health care in case at some time in the future you become unable to speak for yourself, either because of illness or possibly injury. We're all going to die sometime, and many of us will need someone to speak for us in the last hours, days, or months before we die. Few Canadians have actually ever talked with family members or their doctors about what they want if they are ever sick or injured and unable to communicate. Advanced Care Planning is thinking about what is important to you, what health care you would like to receive if you can't speak for yourself, deciding who will speak for you if you can't, and documenting your decisions. Why should we have an advanced care plan? Well, it helps the people you care about, and the people who care about you. It can be difficult, stressful time for them, and if you have an advanced care plan, it will be easier for them to cope. They will know how to advise your medical team about your wishes. And when you've thought about your values in advance, you'll make better decisions. And besides, if you don't make a plan, then the law is going to decide for you. So when should we make a plan? Life is unpredictable. Everyone should make a plan and do it as soon as possible. Do it while you're healthy. And then you always have the chance, if you have a change in your life, to make changes in your advanced care plan. And then the next slide. This course is offered by Joan Hibbard and Jackie Scott at the Sunshine Coast Hospice Society. And the goal of this course is to develop your own advanced care plan. And the course is spread over 4 weeks so that you'll have time to work through aspects of your plan and get answers to your questions as you go. It will explore important legal and personal considerations and provide opportunities for discussions with a physician, a first responder, and a lawyer. And these will be interactive sessions with the goal of helping participants to develop their own plans. And then the schedule for the course, 4 sessions. Each session is an hour and a half long on Fridays in the morning. January 15th is the first one, and it finishes on February 5th. Starts at 10 a.m. in the morning, finishes at 11:30 a.m., and is online, of course, via Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. The next 2 courses are both new and facilitated by Laura Madalozzo, with the first, The History of Gardens, introduced by one of the presenters, Christine Pauli.
Hello everyone, Christine and Rosemary here. We are very excited about our new course in our series on the history of everyday life. Gardens and gardening are such a big part of Sunshine Coasters' lives, and we hope that Elder College participants will find its history especially interesting. It's a huge topic. We definitely can't cover it all in just 4 weeks, but we hope you will enjoy the aspects we've chosen to focus on. We're taking a broadly chronological approach, which we will illustrate in the next couple of slides. So here's slide 2. The word garden and its etymological ally yard come from an Old English word meaning enclosed space. The first gardens, forest gardens, were not enclosed, but were little cultivated patches in clearings where our prehistoric ancestors encouraged useful plants to grow and eventually developed techniques for encouraging plant characteristics that they valued. The first week we'll look at these forest gardens and then at the gardens of ancient agricultural civilizations from around the world, such as the one pictured here, a Chinese Song Dynasty garden, and including such famous ones as the Garden of Eden and the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. In week 2, we move on to European gardens during the Middle Ages and Renaissance, as monastic traditions gave way to private and public gardens during the 16th century. The range of plants available increased by global exploration and trade and the development of science. And so here you see a satirical depiction of tulip mania, the speculative bubble of the 17th century that bid up the price of tulip bulbs to irrational levels before bursting and collapsing. Moving on to slide 3. Week 3 will see the growth of gardening as an activity in mass society. In the late 18th and 19th centuries, public parks were a feature of the growing cities, and industrialization produced machinery to help cultivate ever bigger areas, as you can see from the example of a lawn mower, supposedly so easy to use that even a young girl can manage it. In the back of that picture, you can see a glass house, a technology that combined cast iron with plate glass and that went into mass production in the 19th century, made famous by the Crystal Palace exhibition site in Hyde Park in London in 1851. At the same time, the commercialization of garden products, tools, seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and so on, became the stuff of big business. Week 4 takes us into the 20th and 21st centuries. We draw lessons from gardens and gardening in times of war and peace for purposes of remembrance, therapy, and relaxation. Garden centres became widespread and garden tourism took off in the second half of the 20th century. So too did ecological concerns as gardens learned to work with rather than against the climates and natural features of the landscapes in which they found themselves. And here's the final slide. This lists some of the main themes that will recur throughout the 4 weeks. The picture shows some present-day children learning about plants and gardening at school, which suggests that today we are recognizing the importance of gardening in our lives as much as ever. Rosemary and I hope that our course will help us all think about current meanings and significance of gardens and gardening by understanding a little of their past. So thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you on Zoom in February.
Next, Laura, please.
So the next course that's coming up is brand new as well. We're looking at elder care in the community, and you might be surprised to know that elder abuse has increased by up to 10% during COVID, likely due to isolation. We're going to cover how a community response can help us detect the signs and prevent elder abuse and neglect. In the first session on March 3rd from 2 to 4, we'll look at the warning signs and how ageism and social isolation factor in. And we'll look at prevention that works with local resources and by a coordinated community response. You'll receive a local prevention handbook. In session 2, on March 10th from 2 to 4, the formal responders will be on Zoom from Vancouver Coastal Health, the RCMP, and the Public Guardian and Trustees Office to talk about their roles in prevention and intervention. Next. The presenters are April Struthers and Vicki Dobbin. April is the regional mentor for the British Columbia Community Response Team, and Vicki is the Sunshine Coast coordinator. Next. Ageism is a factor in abuse, and it's a spiraling descending factor. So if you start and look at the chart, it has implications on implications in terms of how isolation is discriminating against older adults because they're too old. Next. People are less vulnerable when there's a response to the issue, when the awareness is raised, when they know who to get help from and how to, and when they can trust that confidentiality works. Next. The formal response team will be from RCMP, the Health Authority, and the Public Guardian, and they'll talk about how the systems will respond and how they work with each other. Next. So don't forget, it's March 3rd, March 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. Mark your calendar. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. The next 2 courses are both very popular, and they are introduced by Barb Chapman. The first is Design Your Own Garden, and the second is Law for Seniors. Barb, please.
Hi. I'm speaking actually using many of Ayuko's words. She will be presenting this course. It's designed particularly for homeowners who want to create a new garden or renovate an existing one. Designing a garden involves various elements: soil, plants, personal aspirations to be achieved in the garden, construction materials, and aesthetics. We have a lot to learn and only 6 weeks, so this course is fairly intense. Each week we will concentrate on different subjects relating to gardens with the aid of visual inputs. During the first class, the basic steps of garden design of an outdoor space will be explained, including simple techniques, measuring a space and putting the information on paper. So basically you become a bit of a drafter. Yuko will show you how to do this. Again, it's usually we do this in person, but we'll be doing it on Zoom. So there may be a few challenges, but I'm quite sure we'll be able to get through it. So you will actually need to work physically as well as mentally during and after each class. There's a lot to be gained from this exercise because you will get to know your garden very well. Then we analyze and learn about existing conditions in your garden so you know what you are dealing with: the physical conditions of your garden, the microorganisms, the soil, as well as possible encroachments from neighbors and neighboring trees, and what you can do about it. Then we move into the human factors like your hopes and desires to change your garden from the before picture that you're looking at now to after. You can see that it definitely helps to know from the beginning of the process which way you want to go. Having clarified your and your family's wishes, we will explore some issues that may help you to make various decisions. For example, useful gardening design principles, the difference between exterior and interior designs. Both are spatial concepts, but the interior design is working within a designated confined space, whereas exterior design has the sky as its limit. We'll also look at other issues affecting all gardens, such as drought and maintenance, etc., as we have to consider these important labor-intensive aspects as we age. Hard landscape materials will also be discussed. Next slide, thank you. And one more, please. The hardscapes will also be discussed, such as decks, paths, patios, steps, garden features. They all add appeal and utility to any garden. The final part of this, of course, will be the plants. This is usually a much desired and appreciated part of the course. We on the Sunshine Coast and the Lower Mainland have one of the most blessed climates in the world in terms of the variety of plants we can grow. And that often means we can choose one plant or a tree, but we can't choose them all. So the calculations can be quite onerous and sometimes even agonizing. It's important to make informed decisions for many reasons. So we will be covering the broad classifications of various plant types and keys to the appropriate selection, as well as about the plants themselves. It's a lot of work, but we usually have a lot of fun, and you can get to live with your efforts for a very long time. And at the last slide, we can just reiterate, you take away a design with you, and finally, this is part of the hardscapes again, and the last slide, I think, will just be telling us again. It starts on February the 11th, ends on March 18th. It's between 2 and 4, so it's 6 Thursdays. And Yuko is excellent. I've taken the course personally. It fills up very quickly. So if you're lucky, you'll get in. And I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. You want to carry on with the next one, with the Law for Seniors?
Right. Yes, well, it's kind of interesting. It seems that we're talking a lot about what happens as we get closer and closer to the final stages. I don't know if it's because of COVID. It may have something to do with it. Who knows? At any rate, one of my greatest fears is not being able to make decisions about my own life. This could be because of illness, accident, or some other misfortune, such as dying. Aging doesn't reduce the fear, it only increases the awareness of calamities waiting in the wings. The obvious culprits spring to mind, like dementia and physical incapacities. So what is to be done? It's probably a little late to undo the mistakes we have made in our lives, thinking of Scrooge and A Christmas Carol, but we do have some means available, and that is what this course is about. It will be 3 Mondays on starting April the 12th and 10 to noon, and the presenters are Carmen Zombrowski, Wayne Rowe, and Lois Porter. Very, very well-known, very good lawyers on the coast. It's quite an opportunity for you. Next slide. Just when you think you had retired and didn't have to worry about niggling necessities of earning a living, the sudden onset of other problems comes bounding towards you. Sure, you could have died any time along your life's journey, but you didn't. So now you have to plan for a future that keeps getting closer and closer. I think we are living a wonderful time with more freedom than we ever had, but it's also a little or more than a little frightening. As with any difficult situation, we really benefit from the advice and help of qualified people. Our 3 presenters fit this bill very well. So now I will give you the really, really short version of the course. Look after yourself and those close to you by learning about will preparation and the consequences of dying without one, appointing executors and guardians, the duties and powers of executors, estate assets and liabilities, legacies and bequests, powers of attorney, estate litigation, disputed wills and claims under the Wills Variation Act. This course isn't just about having a will. You may also be asked to become an executor, executrix, or take on a power of attorney for a family member or friend. It's a good idea to know where and what this entails and what your responsibilities will be. Next slide. Basically, will preparation, the importance of having a will, selecting the executors and the people that you trust. The estate planning, what to do with your assets, what are your assets and liabilities. All of this is really important as you make these final decisions about what happens after you are no longer available. The procedures for probate, administering estates, and the powers of attorney, etc. Each week will concentrate on that particular line. It's time to clean up. Nobody likes housework. No one likes taking out the garbage or cleaning up a mess that someone else made. Many of us have already experienced some of those consequences associated with the death of a loved one. By an accident of birth, we have been gifted with a generous situation. There might have been great difficulties, tragedies, and misfortunes for some, but the majority of us have never experienced hunger, war, or abject poverty. And please note I left out plagues, another spur to our flanks. You know you're not getting out of this alive, none of us are. Arriving at the party was fun, maybe not for our mothers. Enjoying the pleasures of it was fantastic. But when it comes time to leave, I don't want the people who remain to think I left an incredible, complicated mess behind me. Tough topic, but ignoring it can only make it worse. It reminds me of the phrase, whistling past the graveyard. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. The following course, Restorative Justice, is facilitated by Michael Bradley. Michael, please.
Thank you, Thomas. So, Restorative Justice, Elder College has presented this class several times in the past. It's deservedly popular. Next. So, what exactly do we mean by restorative justice? Next. This is the definition. It's a process involving those who have a stake in a specific offense, and it includes both the victim and the alleged offender. Next. The aim is to collectively address the harm that's been done and to identify what remedies and obligations are needed if healing is to take place. and also to put things right as much as possible. Next. So in this course, what we'll do is review the history of restorative justice in Canada, the influence of the First Nations traditions on the restorative justice process, and learn about how it's being used within the community on the Sunshine Coast, both the general community, but also quite frequently in the school system itself. And we'll examine the impact, the results, and the benefits, not only for the offender, but for the victim, and consider how the process can help people have those very difficult conversations after issues have occurred, the difficult conversations that may help to heal the conflict and resolve the dispute. The presenter, as it has been always in the past, is Nancy Denham. She's been involved in the restorative justice process here on the coast for a long time, and involved within the province as well. There'll be 4 weeks, Wednesdays, April 7th to the 28th. It's 10 till noon. And an important point, if you're thinking about this class, the class will involve active participation. There's no sitting at the back of the room or the virtual Zoom room and watching everybody else get involved. There will be an expectation to become involved. And as a result of that, numbers will be limited necessarily. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. The next two courses are both new courses. The first one, Guided Autobiography, and the second one, Mysterious Power of Music. They are both facilitated by Karine McCoggan.
Hi there, I'm Karine McCoggan, and I will be the facilitator for two of the new courses that Sunshine Coast ElderCollege will be offering next spring, Guided Autobiography and the Mysterious Power of Music. The Guided Autobiography will be the first course I will be facilitating next spring. What is guided autobiography? Well, guided autobiography helps individuals to recall, write, and share some of the most important parts of their past, the things that shape them. It provides opportunities for personal growth, for friendship, validation, and learning. And it's going to be held on 5 Monday mornings in March, and will be led by Carly Belsberg. The dates at which will be offered are March the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. In each 2-hour session, participants will be engaged in activities to spark their creativity, to increase self-awareness, and to trigger memories along themes such as family, health, experiences, work, and aging. In between classes, participants will write no more than 1,000 words on a memory of how a specific theme played out in their life. The outcomes for the course are as follows. Participants will learn methods to reflect, to share, and document their memories. Through this, they'll gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of events that have shaped their lives. And finally, and perhaps more importantly, they'll create a document that provides a legacy of their life stories. Carly Belsberg is a certified guided autobiography instructor who has led online GAB sessions in both Canada and the United States. She is a member of the International Center of Life Story Innovation and Practice. Through remembering, reflecting, writing, and sharing, participants will get a start on their legacy stories. I look forward to joining you in this new interesting course next spring. The second course I'll be facilitating next spring is called The Mysterious Power of Music. This course will examine the influence of music on health and enjoyment using a mixture of lecture, critical listening, and the singing exercises. It will be held on 4 Friday afternoons in April and May, and will be led by Catherine Nicholson. The dates are April 16th, 23rd, April 30th, and May 7th, from 1:30 to 3 p.m. Over the course of these 4 weeks, the effects of music on the brain, such as stimulating physical health, promoting emotional health, enabling self-expression, and assisting in pain management, will be explored. Throughout the course, various forms of music will be presented for both listening and appreciation, as well as music making and the creation of playlists. Course outcomes for participants will be to discover new ways to enjoy and understand music, gain knowledge of different genres and instruments, discuss current technology for assessing or accessing recorded music, share experiences of music making and listening, and engage in opportunities to make music together, even on the Zoom platform. We are very fortunate for this course to have it led by Catherine Nicholson. Catherine is a well-known choral conductor, music workshop facilitator, and performer in the lively Vancouver music scene. She lives in Gibsons, BC. I look forward to joining you in this interesting course next spring.
The next 2 courses are facilitated by Keith Maxwell. The first one is History of Rome, which he will be presenting, and the new course, Astrogeomorphology. Keith, please.
Next slide. Hi, I'm Keith Maxwell, and I will introduce 2 courses for spring 2021, Roman History and Astrogeomorphology. Starting on Tuesday, March 2nd, I will present 4 sessions on the first half of the history of Rome, the semi-mythical monarchy and the Republic, 800 years of a fascinating story. Next slide, please. Rome's mythological origin story begins with Aeneas, one of the survivors of the sack of Troy. He eventually lands in Carthage, where Queen Dido falls in love with him, and the story goes from there. Next slide, please. Eventually, Rome is founded by Romulus, its first king, on the banks of the Tiber River on the famous 7 hills of Rome. The story of Rome is enduring through time, and many of its institutions, cultural innovations, and technologies endure to this day. Next slide, please. An example, the position of Pontifex Maximus, the chief high priest of the College of Pontiffs, was established very early in the monarchy era under the second king of Rome, Pompilius, in the 7th century BC. The position has evolved and endured and is alive and well today. It is now the formal title of the Roman Catholic Pope. The Romans have endurance. Next slide. We will explore the expansion of the Roman Republic as it transforms into an empire, where they control the entire Mediterranean basin. Next slide. And look at the evolution of the Roman army, perhaps the most important institution in early Roman society, along with the Senate. Next slide. Here we see the famous crossing of the Alps by the Carthaginian general Hannibal, who waged war against the Romans in the Italian peninsula for 23 years and lost. We'll even learn where the term Punic comes from. Next slide. Here is a short list of the many topics we'll discuss to gain a better understanding of Rome and what they did for us. I look forward to seeing you in March. Next slide.
That's it.
Next slide.
You had...
I'm looking for the astrogeomorphology.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Starting on Friday, March 12th, Ray Kostashchuk will be presenting a 4-session course on the geomorphology of several bodies in our solar system. Note that the 4th session is on a Thursday rather than a Friday to avoid a holiday. This course is an interesting extension of Ray's academic area of expertise, geomorphology on our planet. Next slide. This slide explains the relationship between the two subjects. Next slide. Here is an outline of the topics Ray will be addressing. A fascinating list indeed. Next slide. Here are some examples of the kinds of topics Ray will cover. First, the Oriental Basin on the Moon, a huge impact crater with many later craters in overlay. Next slide. And Mount Olympus on Mars, the highest mountain and volcano in the solar system, more than 3 times as high as Mount Everest. Next slide. And finally, the methane rivers on Saturn's largest moon, Titan. It almost seems like science fiction, but it's all science fact. Please join Ray and me as Ray's facilitator for this fascinating exploration of our solar system and beyond. Thank you. Next slide.
Thanks, Keith. The final 2 courses are both very popular and both facilitated by Jack Pope. First, capture memories with your iPhone, and the second, springbirding on the Sunshine Coast. Jack, please.
Hi, everybody. Some of you may be watching this preview on your iPhones. The iPhone has seamlessly connected us to this digital world that we find ourselves in. And the iPhone camera has revolutionized photography. So this course will teach you how to take better pictures with your iPhone, how to master the camera controls from basic pictures to video, how to adjust for challenging light conditions. But before signing up for this course, I really want you to ask yourself, why do I take pictures in the first place? And what do I want to do with all of those pictures that are now residing on your iPhone? That's the key to improving your photography. And like anything, it's going to take a fair amount of work on your part if you want to improve your photography skills. This is a hands-on course. So you're going to need your iPhone to practice and to follow along the presentations. And you're also going to need an iPad or a laptop or a desktop to receive the program material. Next slide, please. So how do we improve our photography? Well, the Dutch masters had it right. A lot of the classical artists used a variety of composition strategies to draw the eye into a picture. This is particularly important with these grand landscape vistas. Where does the eye focus? The eye has to focus somewhere, or it's simply going to move on to the next picture. So one of the basic strategies is the rule of thirds. You can see the kayak in the bottom corner and the setting sun in the top corner. The eye wants to move back and forth between those two images. Next slide, please. We need to help the eye know where to look. And so the masters were great at perhaps finding something in the foreground that could frame the image, the central subject. Sure, we're looking at a sunset, but it's the framing of the trees that helps us to focus in and look at this sunset. Next slide, please. And finally, we love lines. The eye loves lines. The eye loves to follow along the lines, and we follow along the lines of this fence to the main subject, which is this lighthouse. So we'll look at some of those classic compositional strategies to help you compose your images to make them a little more interesting. Next slide, please. Next, we will look at how do we make these pictures even better? So next slide, please. We go from here to here, using simple cropping strategies to focus in on the subject to get rid of unnecessary details. Next slide, please. Now back to the work. As Marie Kondo would say, you have to clean up your space to truly enjoy it. And that certainly applies to the thousands of pictures that now reside in our iPhones. We'll look at a strategy to organize your pictures into albums after, first of all, getting rid of the extra pictures that we took just trying to get it perfectly. You've got to go through your pictures and get rid of the clutter. Then we'll organize it into slides, and that way we can truly enjoy all of these wonderful memories. Once again, it's 4 Thursday afternoons in April, and who knows, maybe we'll be traveling after that and you'll be all set for your next trip. I look forward to seeing you all online. Thank you. Spring birding. Okay, so spring birding is another incredibly popular course in the Sunshine Coast, and it coincides with that annual spring migration where the birds are traveling through the Sunshine Coast into the interior boreal forests where there's all sorts of food and they can raise their young. And so we time this course during the peak of spring birding. It's going to take place 3 Wednesday mornings from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It will be, next slide, please. And of course, here's the money picture. If you've been down to the Seashell Marsh in the spring, you'll see an abundance of geese, Canada geese and mallards with their youngs. Next slide, please. Here's another picture of a blue-winged teal in the marsh in Seashell. Next slide, please. Here's its cousin, the cinnamon teal. You will see these birds, particularly in the spring. These are the males in their breeding plumage, designed to attract a female that they can mate with. Next slide, please. This is a white-crowned sparrow, which was taken in Sergeant's Bay. We'll go to 3 different sites on this course: the Marsh in Seashell, Sergeant's Bay, and Mahon Trail in Gibsons. Next slide, please. This is an American goldfinch. These are all the spring birds, songbirds that we will see. Next slide, please. This is a house finch, also taken in the Seashell Marsh. And finally, the next slide, and the Wilson's warbler. So we will look at strategies to help you identify the variety of birds that you will be seeing, as well as looking at a selection of field guides, both print and digital, optical equipment, binoculars, scopes, and other digital resources. We're extremely fortunate on the Sunshine Coast. It's a very, very active birding community, and we have lots of senior birders who are more than willing to share their expertise with you. Tony Greenfield is the birding godfather on the Sunshine Coast. He's been compiling records on birds for almost 50 years, and he writes a regular column in the Coast Reporter. John Hodges is an extremely active birder. I saw him yesterday when I was out birding. He's out there almost every day, rain or shine, to several of the coast birding hotspots where he annually identifies over 200 different species. And finally, Rand Rudland. Rand is a retired medical doctor on the Sunshine Coast, very active birder, and an excellent photographer whose images appear on naturalist information signs in several of our birding hotspots. So we've got a lot of birds coming through. We've got the experts to guide you through what's left in the equation. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. So at this stage, we have to say this course will be dependent upon COVID protocols. So get ready to hop on over to the Elder College website. Do sign up for this course, and fingers crossed that COVID will allow us to offer this course as we've done now for probably the last 20 years. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jack. This concludes the preview of our Spring 2021 courses. We hope that you find many of them interesting and will enroll in some of them. Here again is the list of the 15 courses with the ones that are new for this program marked as new. Important is that you remember that registration opens at 12 noon on December the 11th, 2020. We hope to see you all on Zoom. Thank you very much.